It's that time of the week once again. Our resident lawyer, Despina Priala of boutique law firm Priala Legal in Runaway Bay, with us each and every Thursday morning. She brings some general advice on the latest hot topics. All her years of legal expertise, 25 years and counting in the area of property and commercial law. She also prepares wills as part of estate planning and litigation. With us once again. Hi, Despina.
Hi, Wayne. Hi, Brooke.
Good morning, Despina. Good morning, Wayno. So back for more Talking Law. And just before we jump into our topics this morning, last week we were talking about the NRL class action, and it involves about 400 pro-union, NRL and soccer players. And you shared your thoughts, Despina, about, this particular subject and what we possibly foresee how the game could maybe change down the track. And you did receive a call, I believe, on Friday from one or two listeners.
I did. I received a call from a gentleman. I wasn't actually in the office when he called, so he spoke to my staff. And look, he was a little bit upset, not by, I suppose, us talking about the show, but he suffered severe damage himself. I'm not sure when or the details, but he wanted to understand more about the class action, I think, or just understand a bit more about why it's happening now. Why wasn't it available when he suffered damage? And I obviously don't have the answers to those questions. So what I thought I would do is give the details on air to that listener, and hopefully he's listening today, of the law firm that's actually managing this class action. So he could certainly give them a call and have a chat with them, and maybe he can get a bit further. So the name of the firm, and it's all public information, of course, is Mitry Lawyers, M-I-T-R-Y Lawyers. And I've given you a number there, I think, Brooke. Did you want to?
Yeah, so the full website, and I'll just highlight there, Mitry is M for Mary, so M-I-T-R-Y, so mitry.com.au/NRL. If you pop that into your Google search, it will pop up straight away and explains the class action, the financial risk. It actually asks here, is there any financial risk joining as a member of the NRL class action? And it actually, there's a quick response there. There is no financial risk, and you can read about the full details there, and of course join if you're eligible. So thank you so much for getting in touch, and for our friends on Facebook as well. Seems like we got a few views on that one, a few footy fans.
Yeah, we got so many views, probably the highest views of my YouTube segments so far. So obviously a very popular topic, and it was great to see that.
Yeah, so thank you everyone getting in touch. And any point in time during the show or after, Breakfast Radio 97, or you can head to Despina's website as well, Priala Legal. Now, we'll sink our teeth into today's topics. The first one is for our kiwis, but for everyone to kind of learn about this new change that's coming up in July. Despina, can you explain what Anthony Albanese has just announced?
I will, and I will say welcome aboard, New Zealanders. I think that's really the topic for today. I won't say Kiwis because I'm not really sure if the New Zealanders like being called Kiwis. It's like the Aussies being called, Skippies or, Aussies. So I'll just say New Zealanders so I don't upset anybody. But yes, welcome aboard. So we have some big changes coming up 1st of July 2023, which is only around the corner. So we want to talk about that this morning. So any New Zealanders out there listening that have been in this country for more than 4 years, you definitely want to listen up to this segment. So the change that I'm talking about is in fact the biggest change to the rights of New Zealanders in Australia since 2001. So it's really big.
More than 20 years, yep.
Yeah, really, really big. So what is it all about? So from the 1st of July 2023, there's going to be a direct pathway now offered for Australian citizenship. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about New Zealand citizens living in this country, and there are some eligibility criteria. We'll go through that in a minute. But it's all about a direct pathway now being offered for Australian citizenship in this country. Okay. And you might want to ask the question, well, why do we care, or why do perhaps New Zealand citizens care about that? So we want to just run through a few reasons first, and that's the practical aspect, okay? And why do people want to, take advantage of this? So currently, prior to the 1st of July, New Zealand citizens need to first apply for a permanent visa. So the pathway is you've been here for a few years, you've then got to apply for a permanent visa to then afterwards apply for Australian citizenship. That's the current laws and the current process. And obviously, when you apply for a permanent visa, there's always costs involved, and they're considerable. Okay, so that will now be pushed by the wayside, which is why they're talking about it being a direct pathway to Australian citizenship. And then you might want to say, why does it matter? So some of the listeners out there, I'm sure, will understand or know. But look, without citizenship, there are a few restrictions. So New Zealand citizens, for example, they have limited access to Medicare and welfare. There's also limited access to what we call HECS or HELP, which is student loans when they want to attend university. Yeah, so you've got to be Australian citizen for that. And look, some jobs in Australia, some jobs require you to have Australian citizenship, and some people might not be aware of that. So they're limiting their job opportunities and career opportunities by remaining a New Zealand citizen. And one example is an air traffic controller. Okay, so some people might not be aware of that. And of course, voting rights. Now, I know that once you become an Australian citizen, of course, you've got full voting rights. I know the Albanese government recently talked about providing rights to New Zealanders anyway later in the year, but I don't think that's actually passed yet. I think it was just commentary. Yeah. So for all those reasons, if you're a New Zealand citizen and you always wanted to become an Australian citizen, well, this is the direct pathway for you. So what's the eligibility? So if you have lived in this country for at least 4 years, okay, that's one eligibility. You've got to hold a special category visa, which most, if not all, New Zealand citizens hold when they come and live here on a permanent basis. And you have to have arrived in Australia after 26th of February 2001. That is the relevant date. Okay. So that's the eligibility. You've also got to have 12-month permanent residency first. So you've got to have at least 4 years living here. You've got to have 12-month residency, permanent residency as well. And it all sounds a bit technical, but basically what it means is that with effect from the 1st of July, all New Zealand citizens holding a special category visa will be considered permanent residents for citizenship purposes. So provided they've already lived here 4 years, so they won't have to do the 12 months. So come 1st of July, if they've lived here for 4 years, they automatically are, converted, if you will, to a permanent resident. And then, therefore, on the 1st of July or after the 1st of July, they can apply for citizenship straight away.
Yeah. So, so pretty much they're skipping that, which is a massive step and a kind of a costly step of becoming a permanent resident. They're skipping that completely. As long as you've been here that 4 years, you got your golden ticket to become a citizen.
Exactly. Wow. And it's a big deal. And those New Zealand citizens that were granted a special category visa before the 1st of July 2022 are going to have their period of permanent residency, which is 12 months, backdated to the 1st of July 2022. So then come 1st of July 2023, they would have already served.
Yep. They'll be
their
eligible.
12 months.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's a really, really big deal. And these provisions are going to apply to New Zealand citizens in Australia, yes, but it will also apply to New Zealand citizens who are overseas but held a special category visa immediately before they left. So that's also very important.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really important. So look, there's lots of information on the website if you wanted to find out more about it. But the other thing I really wanted to mention is that don't think you can jump the queue by lodging your application now, because they've made it very clear this is only from the 1st of July. So if you go ahead thinking I'm going to get in front of everybody and jump the queue, because there's going to be a lot of people applying for citizenship after 1st of July. If you do lodge your application before, the application will be rejected and the fees that you would have paid at the time of lodgement are lost. You will never get a refund.
Ouch. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
that's a few hundred. I've done it. It's a bit. And then you wouldn't want to study for your test and get all ready for that and then be told that, no, it's void and you didn't have to do it. That would be awful.
It's worth waiting for another 6 weeks.
It is. Just wait. It's only a few weeks. But get all your ducks lined up in a row. Jump on the website. Have a look around. Look at what you have to do, because no doubt, like every application, you've got to get all your documentation in order. Yeah. So there's no point thinking I'll just jump forward and jump the queue before the 1st of July. What you should be doing is becoming familiar with the application, getting assistance if you need to, getting all your documentation ready to go. And then, yes, go and apply after 1st of July. And the reason this has really come about, as I said, it's the biggest change since 2001, but you would appreciate, as the listeners would, we've had a very big connection and deep connection with New Zealand for many, many, many years. And a quote by the Prime Minister, which I'll quote now from the media release, and what he said is that, look, Australia and New Zealand have a deep friendship, which has been forged through our history with shared values and common outlook. And as we mark the 50th anniversary of the Trans-Tasman Travel Arrangement, right, so that was put in place many years ago, he looks forward to strengthening the relationship, hence why they are providing this pathway now.
Wonderful. As a previous Kiwi or born Kiwi myself, I think this is great news. So thank you for sharing that, Despina. And that government media release can be found on the Queensland government website. Is that correct?
Yes, you can. You can actually find it, look, on various websites. If you just Google changes to Australian or New Zealand citizenship,
as of 1st of July.
Yeah, or just Google direct pathway to Australian citizenship. It'll come up.
Perfect. Good news for Kiwis there. Thank you so much, Despina. And coming up, the Queensland government are currently reviewing the manufactured home park legislation, and the public can actually have their say. You can for the next month. So stay tuned. Despina has all the details on Talking Law.
Are you confused about legal jargon? Do you need legal advice but don't know where to turn? Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97. Despina, a leading lawyer with over 20 years of experience, will demystify the law and provide practical advice to help you navigate legal issues. Whether it's a family matter, a property dispute, or a business concern, Talking Law has got you covered. Don't miss out on this valuable resource. Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97.